Hello and welcome. I want to say welcome to the garden, but we're on my porch, so welcome to my porch. I'm getting myself set up here to start a couple of things in small pots and modules. We're gardening here in the Southwest Desert at an elevation of 2,800 feet above sea level. And here in the high desert, it is still over 100 degrees and not really prime conditions for putting seeds in the ground yet. But I do want to get started on my fall gardening. Some seeds I will direct sow in the garden closer to Labor Day into September. But for today, while it's still August and still pretty hot out, I have myself set up here with some soil and some trays. And I started one thing already. This is going to be more of a what I'm doing right now video rather than a results one. Some friends were asking, can you do a when to type video? And so this is a when to start seeds in the house for jump starting the fall gardening season. And so I'm doing that at the beginning of August, and there's some things you can do a little earlier, which I did, and I'll show you. I guess I can show one result. There we go. I have, let's see, this is a July 23rd planting inside the house. These are early, let's see, I labeled it, didn't I? Texas early grano. And I put about 2 seeds in each of these, 2 or 3. This one has 3. This one's got definitely 1 and 1 that was trying down there. I don't know if it'll come up or if it's done trying. But 2 or 3 seeds, and these are toilet paper rolls. It's a toilet paper roll cut in half and filled with seed starting mix, and then put the seeds close to the surface with a little dusting of seed starting mix on top, and then watered. And then I put the lid on for humidity and warmth, and then stuck it in the house under shop lights on a shelf. And then once the seeds sprouted, then I take the lid off. This is a strawberry container, by the way. So, yeah, growing in toilet paper rolls actually works. So there's a result for you. Okay, and then some of the things I'm starting today will go in small pots. And I have a seed tray there with lots of modules. I think that's 72. And then a try. So here's a try with no results for you yet. This is potting mix instead of seed starting mix. I was looking at the price of the seed starting mix, which is really fine and really great for starting seeds. But I'm going to give it a try with the potting mix, slightly less expensive bag. And so this is a see how it goes, and I'm not going to show a results show today. Okay, so let's get planting, and I'll show you some of the things. I'm going to start from seed in the house, and then I'll plant them out closer to Labor Day in September. These are Cylindra beets. And I've heard some never start beets in seed trays, but I've also seen it done on some online videos. And I'm gonna go ahead and try and jumpstart beets by sowing them in the seed trays in the house. I'm going to put 2 or 3 in each one and thin them out later as needed. Beets are, the seeds are sort of in these kernels, and so it doesn't represent a beet seed, it represents a cluster of several seeds. So there'll be a few seeds in each one of those little nuggets. So we ought to get some to germinate, several maybe even. and we'll just thin them later. Halfway, 72 seed cells means 34-ish. That'll be good. And I have extras if I want to direct sow in September. Just going to cover this with a little bit of extra potting soil. These will go, after I get them watered, I'll put a clear lid on top. If ever I've run out of lids, I just put plastic wrap over the top. So water, put a lid on, stick it under the shop lights in the house, and when you see a sprout, that's when the lid comes off. And you keep it in the house until you're ready to plant out, which for me, my best guess is beginning of September. Cylindra. Okay. And I just tape it right on the side of my whatever seed tray I'm working on. I'm gonna stop doing your fingers. There we go. And I know this half of the tray is cylinder beet, and I'm going to plant something different on the other half. I'm going to pause there for a minute because I already know what I want to do in these, which is I'm going to try and get one more crop of cucumbers. So I did Chicago pickling cucumbers, and then in the spring, and then I seed harvested from an overripe cucumber. And these are my seeds. I'm gonna try and put those in here. Now I have done, this spring, I went ahead and did the cucumbers in these larger pots rather than the small, bonus one there. So I went with this size, and I put 2 cucumber seeds in each one, and that worked out really well. It had good germination rate, and the plants did well in the garden. And I'm just going to do it that same way rather than using the smaller seed cells. And then the trial, then since I've already done cucumbers this way, the trial is this is my first time seed harvesting cucumber seeds. So did my method of harvesting cucumber seeds work? That's the question. Now, how many do I want? I think I want 6. So I'm going to do 2 in each of these small, what is that, 3-inch pot. I'm going to just choose sort of off to, not really shoved in the corner, but a little bit off to the corner. Need 3 more. One there. Okay, so we'll see how well these germinate. Okay. Chicago pickling. Okay. So for the other half of this tray, I'm going with golden beets, and these are golden beets that I seed harvested myself a little while back, and they do germinate, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy when my seed harvesting effort works out. Makes me feel good that I can seed harvest and not always buy a new package of seeds. It's sort of a pleasure to collect seeds from your own garden. So I'm going to put these golden beets in the other half. Cylinder beets on one half from a package, and golden beets in this other half from my own seed collection. So I'm just going to start a couple marigolds. This is something I usually just pop right in the ground, but I thought it'd be fun to try starting seeds in the house. And then right here I'm going to go with artichoke. My spring effort to grow artichoke didn't go very well, so I'm going to try one more time. I know people grow artichokes here in our town. I've seen a couple plants, so I think it's worth trying again. See if I can get one going in my yard. So these four are artichokes. I've got Colorado Red Star. Trying to decide if I want to do 2 per pot. I think I will. And then whichever one comes up and is strongest, that'll be what we go with, and thin the others out. Alright. And then these are harvested from a friend. These are marigold seeds. It's a marigold seed. I'm going to put a couple in these 2 pots on the end here. I think I'm just going to go with, I don't know. Looks like I put 6 in one and 3, 4 in that one, 5. Here we go. Let's see how that goes growing in the house. So these are some kale seeds, pods actually, that I harvested from my kale plant. Alright, I'm going to put several in each one. Get just a little dusting of soil on top. Then I'll water those.
and I'll cover them, snap it down with the strawberry lid after I water them, and put it under the grow lights inside the house. I say grow lights, but we went the cheaper route. We have shop lights. I tried planting Thai basil directly into the ground in July when it was so hot. It's still hot, but not as hot as July. Because I was looking online what can still be grown in July. Thai basil was one of them, but it didn't come up anywhere. So I'm gonna go with starting it in the house right now in August, and then planting it out as a seedling in a few weeks here. This is the toilet paper roll trick in a strawberry container. I ran out of cells. I still have some, but I was doing this. I hear they make them stronger now. These are really flimsy and they break and crack over time. In fact, this is actually a lid, not the tray, and I have it sitting in the lid as a tray because my trays, they all cracked on the bottom corner, and when they do that, well, then it's letting water out. So when you water and the tray's dripping, that's no good. That's the point of the tray, right? Keep the water in. So in between, using up some of these old ones I still have and buying some new ones that are more sturdy, I've just been recycling. So that's why the strawberry trays and toilet paper rolls, and then I set it in something to be the tray. So this is a casserole dish, and then this is the lid to when you buy croissants at your store's bakery. Anyway, that's the lid to the croissant container. So that serves as a lid to catch, because the strawberry containers, if you're, they have holes in them, so that's good for drainage. But then just set it in a tray to catch the water. Just gonna shower a couple seeds in each one. Cover it lightly. And then when I take that in the house, I'll water it at the kitchen sink. So that's going to go over here in this casserole tray. That's ready for watering and going in the house and going under the lights. Alright, and then this is a first time try. These are coconut milk containers. If you grow in a large container like this, multiple seeds, they will get, their roots of the seedlings will intertwine. So the goal, I guess, for me is just to plant out early enough that the seedlings aren't completely bound to each other. But I'm going to try starting the Chinese red noodle bean in these coconut milk containers, because, again, something I had learned online that could tolerate heat. Not just that the plant would survive the heat, but that the seed could be planted in the heat of summer. Was Chinese red noodle bean, and none of them came up. So I'm going to start them in the house and plant out in September. So it's August right now. I'm going to plant out in September. Chickens are behind me. One of them just hopped up on the windowsill of the house. They're up here on the porch checking things out today. I did give it a little divider down the center, but I'll put several beans, down the way, maybe 4 in each one. So hopefully they won't cross this way with their roots because of the divider that I shoved in there. But in each little trough, I'm sure they'll get intertwined a little bit. So hopefully they will unwind easily when I go to plant them in the garden. Chinese red noodle bean. My experience with beans is that you can opt not to soak them. I soaked and I've not soaked, and I don't know. I guess soaking germinates them faster, but I'm not really in a big hurry, so I'm not soaking, pre-soaking before planting. Yep, looks like I'm going with 4 in each trough. Hi, Zinnia. They want to see what I'm doing over here. Hi. Let me show you. There's chamomile under the table. And there's Zinnia. She just walked by. They like to come and talk about what's going on. Okay, that red noodle bean is in there. I'm going to cover it a little bit. Okay, that's ready to go in the house, get watered at the kitchen sink, and then go into the grow lights. And okay, so I'm going to do 2 more kinds of onions. I already have my Texas early Grano over here. I only had a couple seeds, that's why so few are planted. But these other seed packets, I have more. And I'm going to plant them here. I'll go half and half, I think. This is a white, sweet Spanish onion. And this is a red onion. I don't know its proper name because a friend of mine gave me seeds and they grew really well, and now I've collected seeds from the same onion. I have at times started onions in the house and at times direct sown. If you're gonna direct sow in the garden in our kind of weather, my best trick is to make sure it's over a couple of days when you'll be around, you'll be home, because it's going to require you to keep the soil damp. You're going to want to be out there with the hose misting it every couple hours or so, because onions are really close to the top when you plant them. When I cover these, I'm just going to cover them a little bit. I'm not going to really bury them too deep. So anything that's surface sown, the seed has to swell up with water, and then it'll start to send out roots going down and stems going up. But prior to a root going down really deep, it's just right there on the surface of your soil. And so if that dries out while it's searching for water, it will you know, it'll germinate, but then it'll die pretty quickly. So the solution to that is to keep your soil a little bit wet until you start to see that stem going up. Then you know a root's going down, and you can water a little bit less. So that's the trick to direct sowing onions in the garden. And then this method is starting it in the house, and it'll stay humid and won't dry out as much, both because we'll put a lid on it and also because being in the house, you know, the water's not evaporating as much as out here in our hot sun. Okay, that's the red onion. I'm gonna leave my bag over here until I actually get it labeled, because I am that forgetful. Okay, white sweet Spanish comes next. I'm gonna put a couple in each cell, same as I did the red onion. You can thin them out later, or you can grow onions a couple next to each other, so long as you give them space on either side. So if you're gonna put, say, 3 onions right here, they're gonna grow together and push out from each other. So then you need room on either side before you plant your next cluster. And then the other method, of course, typically we see, you know, 1 item and then a space and then another item. So, but if you want to do 3 or 4 onions with each other, just give them room on either side when you're planting. So when these pop up, I might not thin them because I've got 3 or 4 in each cell, more or less. I'm not being a little careless with it, so I really don't know how many are going in each one. It feels like 3 or 4. I'm gonna take some of this potting soil that fell to the sides and push it right on there. Surface sown or lightly covered. That's how you plant onion seeds. Just don't bury them real deep. So you can leave them uncovered, you cover them a little bit. I like covering them rather than leaving them on top. Makes me feel like I planted them or something. Makes me feel like I'm protecting them or wishing them well or something, I don't know. So. Okay, after that, they're ready to go in the house. Get watered at the kitchen sink. This is gonna get a cover over it. And then the cover comes off after the seedlings start to come up, after they've sprouted. There's a cowpea. Again, this is something that I heard online could go right into the ground in July. Not so in our July weather. Well, I don't know how many I planted. 4 came up. So I guess it worked to a certain degree. I think I'm gonna start a couple in the house and try it one more time with a later planting. So I'm out of toilet paper rolls, aren't I? So this strawberry container, I'm just gonna put some soil right in there. Put some cowpeas in there. Doing that over my onions. If a little extra dirt falls out the holes of the strawberry container, that's all right. All right. That's going right there. All right, cowpeas. Yeah, these ought to do well in September. 75 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. See, and we're still over 100 over here. So that might be why they didn't really like being planted out. 1/2 inch to 1 inch deep. I'm pushing it, but I think I'm going to go with 8. If they get bound together, I'll just pull them apart when I go to plant them, see if that works. So this is a trial rather than something I've done before. I've done onions before and a lot of other things. Some of these are trials though. Okay, what was this? Thai basil, that's labeled. Here's my pen. Cowpea. I'm going to cover that with a little bit of dirt. So I wanted to be 1/2 inch or 1 inch down. So there we go. All right, and then I want to label these onions before I forget what they are. Let's see. This one is Spanish something or other. Spanish, white, sweet Spanish. White, sweet Spanish. And I'm going to tape it. There. Turn this around. This will be red onion. Don't know the variety. Mystery variety. But they're doing really well in my garden and my friend's garden, who I got them from. I have an old label here. From spring. Lettuce, spinach, mizuna, collard, tot soy. All right, this time red onion. Some of those things I want to do again. I'm gonna have to find one more cell module because I do want to start some tot soy. Spinach actually did better. My spinach did anyways, direct sown. I don't think I'll fuss with doing that in the house. I think I'll start some tot soy and maybe some other greens after I find one more tray here. Okay, so our afternoon weather has come. I'm sweating up a storm out here, so I'm going to take all these seed trays into the house and water them. So here are our shelves and grow lights. Shop lights, I should call them. They are not the expensive grow lights. And there's all the seeds we just started. We have kale at the end, basil, cowpea, and some onions I had already started back there. We have beets, cylinder beet, and golden beet. And we have more onions, 2 more varieties. And we have the Chicago pickling cucumber, artichoke, marigolds, and red noodle beans. I think that's all I'm going to start in the house right now. If you have any questions about what seeds I'm starting in the house and why, or what seeds will be direct sowing in September, just post your questions in the comments. We'll see what we can answer. Anyway, that's what I'm planting in the house in August to jumpstart the season for fall gardening. I do love fall gardening here in the desert. The weather starts to drop little by little, and I will direct sow, let's see, carrots, turnips, cilantro, my Asian greens. I think I've decided not to start in the house. I'll just wait for the weather to cool down a little bit, and we'll plant some more greens straight in the garden as the weather dips. Yeah, that's about it for August. Happy gardening.